Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the GeoGuessr Gold Medal Challenge. The rules are pretty straightforward. We're going to select a random country until every country is gold. We have to score 22,500 points or higher to get gold, and every 5 games our time increment increases. We're spinning a wheel. We're going to get one of 106 available countries, and it looks like we're going to Switzerland.
I must have bad reception. Are you speaking English?
Now, fast, very fast.
Fast. I have to get to Switzerland now.
Now maybe you know Switzerland for its banking privacy laws and celebrity offshore bank accounts, but I know Switzerland for its export of Rolex and Swiss watches. Chocolates I'm not a fan of. Gold, which Switzerland would really appreciate if we didn't look any further into. And you might know Switzerland for a convention they held in Geneva. Not that one. A different convention.
Wait, yes. Excusez-moi, Jordan. Swiss costume requires 10 minutes of blah, blah, blah.
Chit-chat.
Yeah, chit-chat, thank you, before business can be discussed. Yeah. Of course. Let's get down to it.
Now, there's no sense in talking your ear off about Swiss exports or the history of Switzerland. We're going to go ahead and jump into the first game, where we're going to try to narrow down the location the best that we can. I don't know much about region guessing Switzerland. I do know that in GeoGuessr, all of Switzerland is filmed with a low cam, creating that big blur you see at the bottom of our screen, so it does make it an easy country to guess in challenges or duels. But beyond that, I don't know the specifics of the Swiss countryside. On my first guess, I couldn't have been further away unless I went ahead and placed my marker outside of the country. But I do get a couple good guesses following. We get 4,600 on our second guess. Another guess for 3,700 on our third. They don't all stay great. We do put up 25 points, but that's okay. We're still learning. This rounds us off to 12,500 points for our first game. If we continue to improve, we should be doing great, and we don't continue to improve, we're gonna have a long way to go if we're gonna get gold in Switzerland. I do familiarize myself with the large cities in Switzerland just to help narrow down whenever I see these road signs. The most interesting thing I encountered was this sign that says Stop 5G posted in front of this building. Now at the time I wasn't even close to guessing the correct location, but that sign lists a large city and a canton. So it turns out that building was nowhere near it, but again neither was I. I do have a couple rounds like this where we get obvious street signs. Now I do take far too long to narrow down the exact location whenever I get signs like this, but I am fairly new to GeoGuessr, just a couple hundred games, most of which are duels. As you can see, I spent a long time trying to narrow down this location. I'm not quite accurate in terms of placing my point on the map. Towards the end of this challenge, I do get better. Another thing is there's that very obvious cutoff in the road there, that triangle shape. When I zoom in, you'll see it here. I should have placed myself right on the corner of it, instead I went too far back. Into the second round of that same game, we get some more signage. The first minute of this game is rather uneventful, but I do see both the city and or canton listed right here. I'm going to assume it's the city, and I just place my guess down here and begin looking around for anything to narrow this location down further. I go down this road and I see farmland out to our east, so I'm looking for locations that look like they could be suitable. We reset to try to get back closer to our origin point with our guess. I've got 13 seconds and unfortunately, I'm not going to pull this one out. Here we are in the last round of that same game, and I have found what appears to be the street that we were on and the location that we're at based on the way that road widens. The only thing I wasn't thinking about was that was not our origin point. Now our best score was 19,000 points as I just got there. But I am going to go ahead and learn some of the Swiss cantons and canton abbreviations just to make it easier to find my location. Oftentimes on the signs entering cities, we will have 2 letters at the top or bottom telling us where in Switzerland we're at. It does pay off. In game 18 in round 3, it's already a lost game. We can't get gold off of it, but I am still trying to learn Switzerland as best as I can. I do see Zug listed on the back of this van here, and after studying, I do know where the canton and the town are. I place my guess down. There's no reason to try to narrow the street down as this is a lost game. And then here we are on the 9. We can identify it as the 9 due to all of the fruit farming. My initial placement is too far north, but I do end up correcting that. What I'm not paying attention to whenever I place my final guess is the direction this road is facing. So I've put my pin down, and again, there's no reason to spend the full 2 minutes remaining trying to nail the street because it's a lost game, but I do get 4,000 points. Now once we get into game 21 on round 1, I spent the first half of the round not finding anything too useful. I do find a sign with the city name listed, and so I begin scanning for that. You can tell that that is a Germanic speaking region based on the speed marker sign there. And there we had another city name at the bottom of that sign. So I keep looking, and we have these elaborate timber frames, which are very common right around this lake, as well as up in Schaffenhaus. I spent a decent amount of time scouring the map, seeing if I can't find the name of that city. So we've got 20 seconds left. I do end up just looking close. On that last 5 seconds, I spot the city name that was posted on the bottom of that sign. I put my pin over there, and we get 4,600 points. So not a bad round. In round 2, we get placed in a city where I don't recognize it immediately. Spend a decent amount of time looking around. My information priority is not great. I spend a lot of time looking at signs that are ultimately useless to me. They might be useful once I know the region better, but as of right now, they mean nothing. I do spot a city name at the top of that sign, and there's an AG at the bottom of the sign, which is a northern canton. I start looking through that can to see if I can't spot this town name, and finally I do. I spent a decent amount of time trying to pinpoint my exact location. I'm pretty sure we're on this street over here based on the roundabout. We were on the wrong road entirely, but that's okay. Now we are into game 23, round 1. The first thing I notice is this sign posted over here with SZ at the bottom, indicating which canton we're in. So I immediately zoom in and look for this town name. There is the town in roughly the right direction, so I'm assuming we're on this road. I'm going to gather a little bit more information before I make this guess. I see the blue on the map indicating that pass-through of water there under the road. It's my best estimate that that is what I'm looking at off to my left here, where those rocks are. So I'm pretty confident that our point's going to be accurate. I make my guess with 3 minutes remaining, and I do put up a 5,000 point round for the first time in the challenge. Round 2 of game 23, we have a sign immediately with a city name listed at the bottom. Now at this point, I'd spent long enough searching for obscure city names that I don't do it as often. I try to get more information first. We did pass a building on our right with an elaborate timber frame, which according to Plunkett.net, is going to help us narrow down the region significantly. I begin looking in the region of where you would expect to find architecture similar to this, and I do find that name right there from the bottom of that sign. Now I do find an interesting looking sign. It is either a construction sign or a man passing a kidney stone. It doesn't end up being anything too useful, so I continue searching. And we have another city listed at the bottom of this sign, which if we look on the map is just northwest of where our current pin is. So using that information, I'm going to assume we're on this road in between the two. Another beautiful example of that elaborate timber frame there. We end up putting a good guess, 4,868 points, so we're off to a solid start for a gold medal run. In the first minute of this round, I saw a couple signs. They all looked like they were either French or Italian, and you can see me searching the two regions where French and Italian are prevalent. It should be obvious if it's French or Italian. I don't speak either of those languages. I barely speak English, so I wasn't 100% certain. I do narrow it down to what I believe to be French, and so I'm looking in the French region. Now we've got this densely forested area. I'm assuming it is some sort of POI on the map, something like one of these park indicators that you see down here. Based on the general farmland and makeup of this area, I believe we're somewhere in this region. Oh, I find a sign that says Gimel, so I start looking for it, and it actually was remarkably close to where our pin was at. Based on the road angle, I'm initially thinking we could be on this street here. This road also looks like it could work, and we find a sign pointing towards the city to our southeast, confirming to me that we are likely on this road. Reset to try to find our exact location. Substantially closer, 4,992 points. We are in round 4 of our best chance of getting gold, and we appear to be back in close vicinity to the 9. I'm looking for anything and everything I can to narrow this down, and I do find a cafe with the city name listed. Now I begin the process of trying to walk my way back to the original start point and place my cursor over each street that we pass to narrow this down. I do this for 5 or 6 minutes, and embarrassingly, I still end up getting the exact point wrong, but we are close enough that I just have to tap it in and we will get gold. Based on our current score, we just have to get a little under 3,000 points, so we have a huge margin for error, and we do get a hopefully very pinpointable location based on first impressions. So I found a roundabout with city names listed, and I began searching for those city names just to see if I can locate where we're at. I'm checking every major city, seeing if I can find that road number, but I do finally spot a city name that I am familiar with. So now that I've found the city name that I'm familiar with, I begin looking for roundabouts that are pointing in the correct directions. I found a roundabout and I put our marker down. I continue searching further south and I don't find anything. I spend a little bit of time confirming that these roads are pointing in the correct direction. and we've done it.